Love is in the air, and so is the cozy charm of handmade decor. In today's video, we're making the sweetest Valentine's Day fabric hearts, perfect for farmhouse-style bowl fillers, gifts, or even as a lovely scented accent around your home. With soft fabric, delicate doilies, and essential oil-infused rice, these hearts are as decorative as they are functional. Let's create something beautiful together. For this project, I'll be using heart-shaped doilies, fat quarters, matching thread and needle, straight pins, rice, and some of my favorite essential oils. And mix some of the essential oils that I have out in with this rice. So I'm going to go ahead and open it. And I just have a little container here that holds about 1 cup of rice. So I'm going to go ahead and pour some in here. And the oils I have chosen to use today are cedarwood, orange, lemon, and cinnamon. So I'm going to start off with the cedarwood, and I'm just going to drop in 3 drops. And I think what I'm going to do is the same 3 for these and maybe 2 of this. So of the citrus ones, I'm going to do 3 as well. Oh, okay, lemon wanted to go in 4, so I just did 4 of the lemon. And of course, this isn't any type of recipe that is published anywhere. It's just one that I'm making up because I like these, the way these smell. So 1, 2, 3. And then you coming out? Cinnamon's taking its sweet time. 1, 2. Okay. So next, I'm going to get something to kind of just stir this around just a little bit. Get it down to the middle. Okay. And then I'm just going to put the lid on it and give it a good shake. Okay, so now I'm going to set this to the side while I do the rest of the project. Now, as far as the oils go, you can add as little or as much of the oils that you want. It just depends on how fragrant you want your little sachets to be. And that's it. So I will be back with the next step. So next I have my fabric here, and I have pre-washed this fabric and set it in the dryer. And while it was drying, I went ahead and made a little pattern for the hearts. And what I used was the cardboard that was in with the fat quarter, and I traced out the half of the heart on the edge of the cardboard. And then once I did that, I came back around and measured a 1/2 inch away from that original heart line that I did. And I marked the pattern as cut on fold, and now that's what I'm preparing to do. So here we are with my pattern. And my fabric, I did just take it and fold it over just enough, or where I want to fold it is just enough for the heart. So I have it on the fold here. And I'm going to take my water-soluble ink pen, and I'm going to trace the heart right onto the fabric. Now, this is completely customizable. You can use any type of fabric you want, one that would match your decor better. This one is a cream solid that I did get from Joann Fabric. I did peruse the Dollar Tree fabric to begin with, but they really didn't have anything at the time that I necessarily wanted to use. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. And then also, you don't have to use the little heart doilies if you don't want to. This isn't a necessary part of the project. It's just a pretty part of the project. So I've traced out 3 of the hearts. Now what I'm going to do is just place a pin down the center of each one. Okay, and next I'm just going to cut okay, and now I'm going to fold this one on itself, and I can see that that's going to be wide enough, so I'm going to go ahead and just use the warmth of my hands to press this down, and then I'm going to take the previous one and just lay it right on top. And then I'm going to put a second pin in, and I'm going to go all the way through to catch this piece of fabric here. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And then you can see the plain piece. You can't really, oh, you can make out one pin right there. So now what I'm going to do is just, I think it might be a little bit easier for me to cut these apart. Okay, and now I'm just going to go ahead and cut the heart shape out. So now I remove the pins, and what I have left is 2 hearts. Just like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out the rest of these. And so next, what I want to do is start putting these together. Now there's a couple of different combinations as to how I can put these together. So you could put one of the plain ones here, and then you can back it with another plain one. Another way is to take the decorative one that I have. Then this one is, let me make sure that I'm saying it right. This one is called a Diamond Dewdrop Cream with Gold. And again, these I got at Joann's Fabric. So you could use this one on the back so that it's kind of a pretty side for one of them. Well, they're both going to be pretty, both sides. Or you can do a plain one, and most certainly if you don't want to use this lace doily here, you can do just 2 of these and make your scented sachets with just the regular fabric. So you do have choices. Also, you can do different colors. That's, again, so customizable. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to push these back because I do want to address how I'm going to attach the hearts onto the fabric. You know, I'm going to take a pin here, and I just lined it up as best I could, and I'm going to place a pin into this. I did order these. I don't think I said this earlier. I did order these on Amazon. It's a small business on Amazon that I went ahead and ordered these from. Came in a set of 4 to use. So if you're interested in purchasing these, I will have them listed and linked in the description box. And so I'm just putting in the pins here. Also, if you know how to crochet, you can most certainly do this as well. I do know how to crochet, but it's been such a long time that I think by the time I would have gotten, you know, the 4 of them done, it would have been February 2026. So I just went ahead and looked to see what was available. So now I have my needle threaded here, and I do have a knot on the back. And we're just going to simply tack this on to the fabric. So I'm going to come through the back first. And this is where you want your thread to match as closely as possible to your fabrics here. So I came up through the inside of this first loop here, and I'm just going to tack it around all the way around the edges. I'm going to go over the actual crochet. I'm trying not to actually pierce the crochet with the needle, if that makes sense. And the thread is completely disappearing into the fabric here, or into the doily. Okay, so I'm just going in the loop. Bring it closer. See if you can see here. I'm bringing it inside right here, so you can see that it's right in between. And I'm going to pull it up. Then I'm just going to go over and into the fabric, missing the actual doily. I'm going to continue on doing this until I get all the way around. Okay, so I made it halfway around. And this is what the back looks like. You can see it's very difficult to see that thread, but it's there. Okay, so I'm just going to continue on. I'm going to reload my needle when I need to, and then be back with the next step. So I've also went ahead and went around the center of the heart and tacked that down. So now what I'm going to do is show you how I've been knotting it off. And I'm going to get as close as I can get while still being able to see it myself. Hopefully this is picking up because the thread really matches the fabric well. What I'm going to do is right where I came up into the fabric from the front, I'm going to just nip that fabric right next to the where the tail of the thread comes out. And I'm going to pull it through. And I'm not going to go all the way. I'm going to let it form a little loop. Let me untangle it a little bit so it's easier to see. Okay. It just wants to be twisted right now, but I am going to come through that loop once, then again, and then pull. And that forms a knot. I'll do it one more time just so you can hopefully see. I'm just going to nip that fabric just a little bit. I'll pull it through, but I'm going to leave a little loop there. And I'm going to come through that loop once, and then twice. Oh, I went the wrong way. Once, sorry about that. Twice, and then pull. Okay, and then you just clip your thread. Just like that. Another option is you can use liquid stitch. It is it's for stitchless sewing, so it's a permanent fabric adhesive, and that's what that looks like. So what you would do, I think what I'm going to do is pin it right up here at the top first, so that I have it in the spot where I know I want it to be. I'm just going to take it, or I'm going to take it right along the edge. And then press it into place. And you're just going to go all the way around until you get that complete. And I'm going to go around the center here. Now this would be good if you don't plan to use the rice on the inside and it's something that you want to launder, then you can most certainly do that. If you're not planning to launder it, another option you can do is to use, there's fabric Mod Podge you can use, and you can also, I don't see why you couldn't use tacky glue. That one for sure you don't want to use it if you plan to launder anything you made with fabric. So once you get all the way around, you let this set up and dry for the packaging here says 30 minutes. And then it should be fully set to go on to the next step. So next, what I'm going to do now that I have this sewn on, I'm going to take another piece and I'm just going to lay that right on top. And now I'm going to take 2 pins. And this is just so I kind of know where I want to stop so that I'm able to stuff the inside of this. So I'm just going to put, what is that? About an inch apart. So I have about an inch opening here. And now what I'm going to do is I have my needle and thread. And since this is going to be visible from the outside, I'm going to come up from the back. I'm sorry, from the inside. I came in from the inside so I could hide that knot and sandwich it in between there. And now I'm just going to sew along the edge of the heart. Now, with that being said, since this is going to be visible, you want to try to be as neat as possible, especially from the back. You may be able to get away a little bit with it not being so perfect on the front, but I'm just going to go up and down and going about a 1/4 inch on the front. Oh, a 1/4 inch away from where it came up through the fabric to go down. And then I'm going to make it even smaller on the back. And you probably don't want to go any larger than a 1/4 inch. I think that might even be too big, so I'm gonna dial it back to probably about 1/8 of an inch away. Because if you're stuffing it with the rice, you don't want that to fall out. So I'm going to do it really close there. And then 1/8 of an inch away in the front. And I'm just going really close to the edge of the heart here. Originally, I'd planned to leave a 1/4 inch, but I'm not really liking that. So it was going to be a 1/4 inch away from the heart, and then it was going to have the edge here. But I'm not enjoying the way it looks. So I'm going to end up, once I get done sewing this, I'm going to end up cutting it close to the edge of the heart here. So I'm going to continue going around like this. Another option is you can do the glue again if you're just really not into the hand sewing. If you have a machine, which I'll likely get mine out next, you can do it with a sewing machine if you're comfortable doing so. This is the glued one that we did with the liquid stitch, and it has set up, and it looks like it's completely dry now. I'm not able to peel that up. I'm not using great force, but it's not coming up. So now what I'm going to do with this one is we're going to continue with the glue theme. And first, before I start gluing it, I want to just make sure that I know where I'm going to start and where I'm going to stop. So I'm going to put it on the side again here. I'm going to leave myself, again, about an inch. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over, and I can kind of see through this where I need to be placing my glue. So I'm going to start over here. I'm just going to go right along the edge, and I'm going to try to make this as thin a line as possible. I'm just going to take this heart and lay it right on top and press. And I'm going to let that dry for about a half hour. I'm going to set that to the side. So another option we have is to sew it from the inside, if that makes sense. So you want to, we're going to use this fabric now. I'm going to place them so it's right sides in. And again, we want to mark our stop and start. Okay. Now, if you have a ruler, you can come in and make yourself a guideline if you're going to be sewing this by hand. So I know before I said I wanted it to have a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to take my fabric pen and actually I'm going to turn this over since this will be the back, the inside back. Let me just switch this around so I don't confuse myself. So I'm just going to do some little dots so I know where I'm supposed to be sewing this. Okay, so I've gotten my 1/4 inch seam allowance all marked out here. So now I'm going to take my needle and thread, and now I'm just going to do a simple stitch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the thread up through the back. Then I'm going to go holding the thread. I'm going to go back, behind, and then I'm going to come up just past where I went in. Maybe if I bring it up closer and take that pin out. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to go behind this thread where it's coming up. I'm going to go into the fabric and I'm going to go back out. So you can see that the thread is going to be in through the middle. Okay, and I'm going to do that again. So now the thread is coming up from right here. I'm going to go back behind, and then in front. And there you have the stitches. So I'm going to continue doing that till I get all the way back around to this side. Okay, so I've gotten this one sewed all the way around. And now what we need to do, what I need to do is to cut slits and notches in this so that once I turn it right sides out, the heart will actually look like a heart and not be all bunched up all over the place. So I'm going to start here at the bottom, and it is an outside curve. So we're going to do a notch. which is just a little triangle. You want to cut up to the thread, but not through the thread. So it's going to look something like this, how we're doing. I'm going to do one more on this side. Okay. And now for the top of the heart, we have an outside curve. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do notches, which is just the triangle. Okay, I think that's good. And then for this, the V part of the heart, it's going in. So we're just going to do a clip, just a straight clip. And that's the only one that we have that's like this on this. So now we can take our pins out and we're going to turn it. And that's what that's looking like so far. I'm going to see if I can get this. I'm going to take the end of a toothbrush and I'm just going to push this point out a little bit, and then I'm going to run it along the seams here to see if I can just get a crisper line. And you just want to be careful that you don't push it through like I just did. Just getting ready to tell you about it and I just pushed it through. You just want to be careful of that. Okay, but that's what we have going on for that one. Now essentially we can go ahead and start filling our parts up. So this one is the glued one. We'll wait on that. I'm going to go ahead and start with the one that was just sewn. And I need a funnel. Let's get a piece of paper. I'm going to take this and put it inside the opening. And then pour the rice in. Okay. Let's just keep going. Okay, I think that's full enough. So now with this one, we use the needle and thread. So I'm just going to use the needle and thread to do the same thing. Again, with this one, I want to go ahead and do all of my knots on the inside. So I'm going to start in the middle here. Okay, and then remember this one was an eighth of an inch away on the front and just a little bit on the back to keep that neat. Okay, so I've totally sealed that off. So now what I'm going to do is bring my thread back through to the center. Okay, so I'm in between the two fabrics. And now I'm just going to create a knot right in between. I'm just going to nip a little bit of fabric here. And then I'm going to loop my needle through. 1, 2, and pull. And I'm just going to clip off the tail. Okay. Now, with the glued one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, so that the rice, I create like a little barrier for the rice, because I need to glue in here to finish it off. So I'm going to take some pins and just kind of use that as a barrier for the rice to not get in the mix here. I'm going to take my glue and I'm just going to go right along the edge where I can see my the doily. I'm just going to press that closed. And we're going to wait on that for a half hour to fully dry. So I'm going to set that off to the side. Now, if you don't want to deal with rice and the mess of this rice that's just flying all over the place, I'm sure you'll be a little bit neater at it than I would be. But if you wanted to, you could use polyfill. I've got my big bag here that I've been working out of. This is overkill. That's too much. I'm just going to tear off little pieces here. And so polyfill is also an option. You don't have to use the rice to create these, especially if you don't want to use the scent. You don't have to use the rice at all. You could just skip straight to polyfill. Now that I've gotten it stuffed to where I want it. I'm just going to kind of manipulate the fabric to where I want it to be. Then I'm going to take a pin, or maybe even two, and I'm going to use the pin as a barrier for the polyfill this time, so I have room to work with getting this closed. Okay, and I want to make sure I hide that knot inside. So I'm just going to come, actually I'm going to turn this direction, and I'm just going to, from the inside, taking my needle and pushing it in and coming out through the top. And that is going to bury my tail. You can also push it in some if you need to. And then for this, you can do an easy just whip stitch. You're just going to come on the very edge of the fabric and pull it. So you're just, again, going to, at the very edge of the fabric, try to catch both sides and pull it. Okay, so I'm to the end now, so what I'm going to do is open this up very slightly, and I'm going to get a nip of the fabric and I'm going to knot it off. Okay, now what I'm going to do is come back and push my needle down and in. Make sure you're staying in the middle. You don't want it to come out on either side. And I'm just going to bury the tail. So now I'm going to come back up through the middle. And I'm going to pull my thread. I'm going to pull it just a little bit taut. Snip it. And then when you stretch it back out, the tail is just going to go back in. And here you have a cute little heart. Now, the purpose of these is I'm going to be using them as a bowl filler for now because of being close to, what is the holiday? Valentine's Day. And then for the scented ones, you can actually use these, like if you want to put them in a dresser drawer to kind of keep the inside of the drawer and the items in there, having the scent that you like. These can be put in a closet, anywhere you want to have a good fragrance with the essential oils on them. But I think because I went ahead and did these as a neutral color, these are kind of like an all year round thing that you can, have out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pinking shears, because remember I said I don't really care for how this looks like that. I'm going to take my pinking shears and just go right up to the edge of the heart. You don't want to cut your beautiful little doily. And you don't necessarily have to use pinking shears to do this either. You could just do a straight cut with your scissors. Yeah, I like that much better. Much, much better. Okay, so this one we still have to wait for another little while for it to finish drying. Then I'm going to do the same thing, and stay tuned for the final pictures. These fabric hearts are such an easy and beautiful way to add a handmade touch to your Valentine's Day decor. I'd love to know, how would you use these in your home? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any DIY inspiration. See you in the next one.